Welcome to the Celestial Hour by Talia Rosa Almeida. You're supposed to roll the R, but I can't. Today, I'm going to be talking about art and the subconscious. So let's talk, because time is of the essence. There's a lot you can do in an hour. I mean, you're here, so you're not stupid. I mean that as an endearing compliment. I really do. I've done so much damn research into this shit in the past, 6 months, consciously aware of, right? But subconsciously, I would say, since I was 15. Okay, here's the thing with the subconscious mind, is that a lot of you already know what it is. Whenever I tell you some of these concepts, you're going to be like, oh yeah, and it's just that you didn't know the name or you didn't know the proper terms. I like making art, you know? That shit fucks. And I paint a lot. And one thing that I specifically draw a lot with is more abstract and surrealism. But whenever you get into those, they start branching more into the subconscious, which is essentially, where are you creating this from? I mean, whenever you have an idea, I'm speaking to the people who have original ideas here. Where does art emanate from? Billions of people are addicted to art, yet it has no real functioning use. Emotionally, spiritually, yeah. But physically, what's it doing? What is that painting on the wall doing for you besides collecting dust? Why does it catch people's eyes and attention? That's the thing, is that a true art piece communicates emotion through time. It resonates on a deep emotional level, and this emotional connection allows it to resonate with other people. You know, your emotions are fluctuating, and you can resonate with a vast array of art because of that. You're not always going to be a sad person, but you're going to like sad music at some point. You're going to like happy music at some point, you know. Now, surrealism plays a huge role with both the conscious and subconscious. People who have a difficulty verbally expressing their feelings, they're often going to use art as an outlet because you have these suppressed traumatic experiences and it makes it hard to communicate it. But the art will make you talk about it without you even realizing it. To start off briefly, surrealism was born out of Europe 1917 after World War I, which combines all parts of human consciousness to explore high levels of imagination. Highly inspired by Sigmund Freud. Okay, so Freud emphasized that our subconscious mind plays a large bearing on our conscious acts. And psychology plays a huge role in art because it plays a vital role in governing our understanding of human behavior and intent. Since art is to influence and mirror human emotions, it's combined, essentially. You know, to understand the art deeper, you have to know the mind deeper. And that sounds like some corny bullshit, I know, but that's the thing about it, is that that's really what it comes down to. Because if you want to understand art, you have to understand what's creating it. And what's creating it is the mind. If you don't even know the mind, how can you know what it's capable of? And we're never going to fully understand the full concept of the mind, but you know, there are 3 levels of consciousness. There's the consciousness, the unconsciousness, and the subconscious. 3 levels. Now, these mental processes sway every aspect of human existence, like desires, opinions, feelings, coping mechanisms, perceptions, the list goes on. So Freud, what he did was he defined the subconscious as the storage location for dreams and recent events. It contains forgotten memories and implicit information that plays a subtle and overlooked role in our daily lives and decisions. But when an individual taps into the forgotten memories of the subconscious, they open a vault of information. So whenever you first start to dive into the subconscious, it can be super daunting and super terrifying. You know, you're just chilling on a fucking Tuesday night and all of a sudden it's like, yes, I'm going to delve into my psyche to recall the thing that happened when I was 5 years old that left me devastated, that my mind has forgotten since. No one wants to do that. It feels terrible, yet the after rewards are insane. Absolutely insane. So surrealism taps into this and it plays off of it. It unlocks the vault of emotions. It essentially will bring it out. Now, Freud would have his clients draw or paint their thoughts to reveal it a lot of times. So he believed that art was the gateway to the subconscious and was necessary to make the subconscious content more accessible. See, I fuck with that, you know? These links developed art therapy. And in this way, both the artist, through a release of emotions, you know, whenever you're making music whenever you're painting or you're singing, you're writing, you are releasing emotion. The artists themselves get to release that. And not only does the artist get to interact with these emotions at such an intimate level, but the consumer then, through finding similarities to connect with, they're able to live through the art and to feel like a part of something bigger. One of the most plaguing things, I think, in at least young adult society, what the fuck is that? Is that even a thing? The young people of today. One thing that I think plagues them is loneliness. And I think that art allows people to really dig in, and it lets them feel like they're part of something. Now let's start actually diving into this shit. What is it? What is the subconscious mind? How does it operate? So the subconscious mind, it's operating more on speed and efficiency rather than accuracy. So it's automatic, the role is to keep you safe by storing and retrieving data when needed in order to help you respond as programmed. So essentially, moral of the story with that is your subconscious mind is just trying to do things at a fast pace. It doesn't want to have to sit and think, do I want to go left or right? No, you're just gonna choose, like you're gonna turn the corner. You're not thinking, oh, do I have to turn the corner now? No, you have to fucking turn a corner. Like it's more focused on speed and efficiency, and it's going to answer that based off of things in your life, past programming. Then there's the conscious mind, which is slower. It's more accurate, and it requires effort and actual energy. Whenever I talk to someone, I don't think hard about what I say, but if I write an article, I'm gonna be thinking about what I'm writing. So the subconscious is constantly predicting your near future based off of data intake with probability in your near environment and past context and patterns. Your eyes are taking in so much information constantly. You're processing so much that if you were to be able to hear all of those thoughts, you would go insane. That's too many thoughts at once. So they did studies, and they found that the average person has about 12,000 to 60,000 thoughts per day. But don't be on that lower end, man. And I mean, if you're sitting here listening to this podcast, you're probably on that upper end of 60,000 thoughts per day. I'm just gonna be honest. Out of all of those thoughts, 80% were negative. 95% were exactly the same repetitive thoughts as the day before. Think about that. Just let that sink in for a second. You could do a drinking game to how many times I say subconscious mind in this. So your subconscious mind acts from a place of survival. It's trying to keep you safe. The issues can arise when it becomes so active that it rules you. The mind is a slide ruler. When you have a really strong subconscious and it's not making accurate predictions, that causes issues. Your subconscious, it's trying to make predictions. It is trying to predict what's going to happen, because after all, anxiety is the fear and knowledge that there are so many endless possibilities in the world that anything can happen. It is that concept that gives you anxiety. That's what anxiety is. And if your subconscious is trying to make all these predictions and they're all inaccurate, then it creates this limbo of distrust that makes you wonder if you can trust yourself, because your subconscious is feeding you these things because you're acting out of past trauma, past hurt that is no longer the same current situation that you're in now. So many contents of the subconscious are considered unacceptable or unpleasant, like feelings of pain, anxiety, or conflict. And it's not that these feelings are inherently bad. I mean, we made up those terms. I mean, Freud believed the unconscious influences others' behavior, even if they're not aware of the underlying influences. And that is what happens. You're having a bad day because you couldn't pick out the right outfit or some other menial bullshit, and you might be a little bit more irritated. You're definitely not going to treat people the exact same way that you're going to treat them when you are on top of the world having the best day ever. A popular way to really conceptualize all of this pretty easily is to visualize an iceberg. Freud essentially came up with this, or at least introduced the idea. Everything above the iceberg that you can see above the water is your conscious awareness, and everything below the iceberg that you can't see with your eyes, that is your unconscious. So when you visualize this iceberg, you're looking at it and you can see it, right? It's in the water, it's white as ice, and it's in the ocean, probably a deep blue. You only see a small part of the iceberg, but below it is enormous amounts of ice that make up that bulk of the iceberg. It's submerged deep below the water. It's 4 or 5 times the size of what you see on top, and that's what the unconscious is. I mean, you don't tell everybody the shit that you're going through. Just because you can't see it, you're not aware of it physically, doesn't mean that it doesn't exist. And I think that's what a lot of people are genuinely afraid of. I think they're afraid of the answer. They're afraid of what they're going to find out below it. Because delving into your subconscious is not something for the weak, but anybody can do it. It's something that takes perseverance and resilience. You gotta keep getting back up. It's gonna knock you on your ass so many times, but that's fucking life, And I don't mean that in like a depressing way. If you're gonna be subjected to being knocked on your ass anyways, and you're gonna be subjected to feeling bad or having setbacks, why not do it in a productive way? So let's discuss how you access it. You know what it is now, but how? The first thing that everybody truly needs to do, you have to become accountable. You have to become aware that this whole concept does exist. Notice how you speak. Notice how you act. Notice how you relate to others. When other people are speaking to you, if you get triggered by something, instead of letting that take you over, then you sit from an observational standpoint. It's so much easier said than done, yes, but you sit from that observational standpoint, and once you realize, why am I getting agitated at this? Don't be mad at yourself for getting agitated at like your friend's success. Instead, you need to sit and ask yourself, what has happened in my past that this is triggering? What does this remind me of? When you look at it from that observational standpoint, it allows you to really just start making changes and to really reflect. By doing this, it's going to help you get clear on who you are and where you are. And once you realize and you ask yourself these questions, it's important to answer them from a place of observation as well and not judgment. There is such thing as good judgment, but you don't want to be beating yourself down. And once you realize that, then you're able to start trying to change your negative self-talk to positive. Like, instead of something bad happening and you're like, oh, that's just my luck, it would be like, oh, well, that's a challenge that I have to overcome. Even if you don't sound thrilled about it, you don't have to. It's not about faking it. You can be upset, feel that emotion, sit there, wonder how your body feels in that moment, the physical sensations, just feel the emotion, try to visualize how you feel physically as a visual perspective. I hope that helps some of you, at least. That's what I do. And it helps me. And whenever you're able to do that, you're able to see whatever is upsetting you as an emotion. You're able to think about it logically. You're able to ask these questions and seek within yourself deeper. By tapping into the subconscious mind, you're going to get more in tune with your intuition or gut feelings. So if you take a look at your life, you're going to start reevaluating. Are you moving towards things that are good for you? And do you move away from things that are bad for you? Because 95% of what we do, think, and feel occurs without our conscious control. Every time you connect with your subconscious, you reinforce the likelihood that you will move towards what is good for you and away from what is bad. So when you start seeing things in your life go really great and they start improving, it's because you are bridging that gap between the subconscious and the conscious. You can get offered all of the best deals in the world, but your subconscious will make you feel like you don't deserve them, that you should deny them, and your subconscious will self-sabotage you. If you're not aware of this, you will notice it tearing you down over time. You might feel stuck in cycles, and it's because you are letting your subconscious take over. And it's a lifelong practice. It's genuinely exhausting because it's active thought at the beginning of it, like truly active thought where you have to sit and really think about changing your actions. Before you do something, second guess yourself and ask yourself if what you're doing is serving you for where you want to be at in 5 years from now, in 10 years from now, shit, in a month from now. Where do you want to be, right? I think it's so important to evaluate that, to make goals. It's super important. So to change your life, you need to change your mind. It's that simple. And it starts by changing habits. Your negative thoughts aren't the issue. Yes, they are an issue. The real issue at that is that you lack self-love. That's where the issue is. When you start getting upset, instead of being like, oh, everybody hates me, it was all my fault, you start thinking things like, I'm trying my best. I know that I'm having an off day. Don't try and blame it on yourself like you somehow inflicted it. And not everybody does these things, but I know that there are people out there who do that, and I know that by saying this, it might help some of you to flip that mindset because it's genuinely exhausting. So another thing that you can do is to declare the things that you want in life. You sit down and you think about what you really want. Analyze, what type of friends do you want? Who do you have around you right now? Take a look at what goals you have for yourself. Think like you already have it, and it makes your subconscious subconscious mind, see it as a promise to yourself, and you will reprogram your life, your choices, and your mind to it. It's not about, I have no emotions, the only ones that are great are positive ones. No, because then you're ignoring all of the emotions, which is the whole issue in the first place. To believe that you have it, whenever you start getting really happy and you start getting super grateful, maybe you start by listing the things that you do have at the moment, and then start slipping in things that you want. I mean, I go to an acting school, and I know a lot of people here have ambitions to be cast, right? They want to get their first job whenever they get out of here, like a really good paying job. So an example would be that as you're saying things like, I'm so thankful for the pretty weather today, I'm so thankful for the roof over my head, you start listing these things and then just slip in like, I'm so thankful for the stable job that I was cast in. You slip these things in. Your subconscious only knows yourself. Whatever you say, if you say something negative about somebody else, your subconscious doesn't know them. Your subconscious knows you. That's how powerful this shit is. Your mind has so much power. Another thing is to turn around your fears. And I already talked about this before. You ask yourself why you're afraid of this, why this is triggering you, and you see it from a place of observation. You got to start befriending your fears. Start actually facing them head on, because it's uncomfortable. It is. But you don't ever get anywhere from staying comfortable. Another thing that you can do to change these habits is to take care of your physical health. You're removing all the barriers to your subconscious mind and your conscious mind. By doing that, whenever you are physically healthy, you are able to give your mind the access and availability to reach those lengths that it needs to get. I mean, think about the pyramid of needs. You have to get those base needs in before you can transcend any further up. Another thing would be to take care of your spirituality. Try meditation, try yoga. Those aren't for everybody, I understand, but meditation, man, there's so many different types. And EFT tapping. This isn't really part of spirituality, but I have to fucking talk about it because this was life-changing for me. EFT tapping is emotional freedom technique, and some amazing YouTubers are like Brad Yates or Gala Darling. They do videos on this, and you follow them, and they're gonna tap certain points on the body, and they're gonna say certain lines. It's like scripts, and you do it with them. And what you're doing is you're reprogramming your subconscious, because you're tapping on these meridian points on your body. It correlates with energy blockages, and it helps you reprogram your subconscious. So you can do EFT tappings on literally anything. There are people, they have claimed that they have cured their eating disorders with it. They've cured their depression, their anxiety. And for me, I can testify that it has definitely helped me with my anxiety and my depression. It's pulled me out of it, if anything. It allows me to be able to have a constructive approach to my emotions and how I feel. And the last habit that you could change is to look for positive examples. If you consider successful individuals and you try to learn how they made it, individuals that you relate to, you have similar goals and values, it gives your subconscious mind positive directives. It'll start to be part of your subconscious mind, because you're going to see them do it. You see them do it. You see that is a reality that is playing out for somebody else. If a reality can play out for someone else, why can't it play out for you? Nothing is so good that it can't get better. And whenever you do these things, it starts gaining control over your subconscious mind. You start harnessing it. And when you start harnessing it, you'll notice you'll have enhanced relationships. You'll have higher creativity levels. You're going to be more composed and relaxed, because you're going to have your nervous system under control. And that is so important. A lot of people can't say that they are aware if their nervous system is activated or not at the moment. If their nervous system is playing a role for their physical or mental health, you're going to have the strength to transcend limiting beliefs. If you have a large group of people, or just people in your near environment, telling you these things about yourself, these people don't know you. They have not been with you your whole life. How can these people, with their own limiting beliefs, how can they define you? Because you don't live for them. After they leave, you're still going to be with yourself. And this is going to give you that strength to transcend those limiting beliefs. It's going to let you see yourself truly for how you are. And when you really see yourself, nobody can take that from you. Because people can tell you you're this, you're that. They can label you with mental illnesses even. And the thing is if you know yourself, if you look inwards to yourself, nothing they say can define you, because you know you. There are things that you have seen that they haven't, and vice versa. But I just wanted to emphasize that, because that for me was one of the biggest inhibitors to really learning all of this. I spend, I would say, roughly an hour to two a day watching videos on this type of stuff. I mean, I delve further into Carl Jung or like alchemy And I do that almost every day. And it's genuinely really eye-opening. So something that really caught my eye as I was going through all of this, it's the Pareto principle. You gotta hear me out now. So it's an observation, not a law. Most principles are considered to be a law. This doesn't really apply to everything, but it applies to a lot of things that if you understand how to harness it, it's gonna work for you in your favor. So it's named after economist Vilfredo Pareto. It's also known as the 80-20 rule. So it's a phenomenon that states that roughly 80% of outcomes come from 20% of causes. That is emphasizing an unequal output to input ratio. Or an example would be if a business has 100 clients, 80% of the financial advisor's revenue would come from the top 20 clients. So you can follow this principle by making sure that the things you do each day are those that will have the greatest impact on achieving your life goals. Now, when you make these actions a priority, they no longer fall through the cracks. They don't fall prey to procrastination or are overtaken by other activities. When you start labeling the things that you value and the things that you consider important, and you get your fucking priorities straight, you're able to plan out your time better. And you don't have to stretch yourself so thin that every day you're constantly running, because nobody can do that. You're going to break. It's maybe listing that you have 3 major things that you want to get done that day. So you make those a priority to get those 3 things done. Those are the 3 things in your mind. You can take breaks in between doing those things, but you just know you want to get those 3 things done. You know, it's as simple as that. But if you do something like that every single day, even if you just start off with, I want to do this one thing every day. When you start to connect with your subconscious mind, you start to gain discipline. Discipline gives you excellence, and excellence is the gateway to success. And it's through getting this subconscious mind tamed that you're able to harness these energies. And I mean, I'm not here to convince you why you should or should not listen to me, but I can say I have been a creator online, started from nothing, built it all myself, me consistently posting every single day for a year and a half. And this was whenever I was 15. I sat down, I knew that I just wanted to get out, and so I started working towards something, and I worked towards that social media following, just posting a few videos every single day. That was the one thing I had to get done, and I made sure of it for a year straight. At the end of that year, I had 150,000 followers, and I had been to Playlist Live as a featured creator, and I started learning these things, and I started picking up the ways in which you discipline yourself. Okay, let's get into Sigmund Freud. You know him, the man, the myth, the legend. He played a major role in the subconscious findings today. He was an Austrian neurologist and the founder of psychoanalysis. He lived from 1856 to 1939. Okay, so you know that iceberg that I was talking about earlier? We're gonna picture it again. Iceberg is back. Boom. That was me snapping. Did you hear it? Yeah. That's right. Iceberg back in your mind. Thinking about it, the conscious, and then below the water is the subconscious. So he thought there was this little middle section below. It's still underwater, but it's like the middle section underwater, kind of down there with the unconscious, except the unconscious is way deeper than that. What he thought was that the preconscious mind is like a mental waiting room. In your preconscious mind, you are storing so much information. An example is right now, you're not thinking about your phone number, I bet. Yeah, well, now you did, so that's in your preconscious mind. You're welcome. While we are fully aware of what's going on in the conscious mind, we have no idea what information is stored in the unconscious mind. We know what we know, right? Or we can pretend we know something we don't know. But when it comes down to it, I don't know what I don't know. There's shit that I don't know that I'm gonna learn next year that I'm gonna be like, wow, I was so dumb when I was that age. So Freud thought that the unconscious mind acts as a cauldron of primitive wishes and impulses kept at bay and mediated by the preconscious area. Okay, so that's just saying that the unconscious mind is full of all of these things that you don't want to think about. It goes as deep to primitive instincts, but they've been ruled out, and your conscious mind honestly cannot fathom some of these primitive instincts because the logic and rationing side of your conscious mind will not allow them to. It's stuff like that. And our feelings, our motives, and decisions are actually powerfully influenced by our past experiences. Every single decision that we make is very much based off of what we've been through. This even goes into art styles. You come up with things on your own. You have an art style. You're not mimicking. You're not trying to draw what somebody else drew. You're just drawing. And you're going to notice you have a consistent style of which you draw in. And it doesn't matter if you want to be a fucking detailed artist. If your art style is like blocky and cartoonish, you can work to add in more details. You're working against the grain, You should really harness what you have because there's so much richness in that. And people don't understand that you can't replicate styles like that because the culmination of somebody's art is everything that they've been through up to this point. The way that you move your hand is indicative to what you have been through. So nobody's going to have that same art style. People can have similar ones. People can have ones that sound like it, or you can hear imitations and you can tell when it's an imitation. Let's go into Banksy. He said, "The bad artists imitate, the great artists steal." Yeah, except Banksy didn't say that. Picasso said that. He did what he said. I mean, respect, right? The reason why it says that great artists steal is because they take what somebody else did and they incorporate it into what they already have. You stole an idea from another artist, yes, but you're not trying to be them. Somebody who doesn't know themselves, they are not able to create art from a sustainable place like that. They're not able to pull from this endless reservoir of creativity. So that was all that I have compiled for you today. There is so much that I want to talk about, and I do want to delve into the psyche, the actual levels of it. I want to cover Carl Jung's work. Let's talk about quantum physics. Let's talk about shit like that. And I hope that my commentary and the way that I view life can somehow inspire you. And maybe if you start incorporating it, let me know. I want to know what's happening. I'm nosy, It's crazy. Yeah, so that is all that I've got for you today on the subconscious mind and its role in art. And I'm going to go back to painting. Another painting. Because why not? Thank you for coming to the Celestial Hour. I really appreciate it.